Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Marvel vs. Unboxing. This is for Spider-Verse, which actually has less to do with the Spider-Verse series and more with Maximum Carnage and Venom and Symbiotes, which is why it's part of the Symbiotes storyline. So it's a Volume 4, Issue number 9. It's Part 3. Part 1 was Lethal Protector, which went over Venom and some of his different forms and allies. And adjacent characters. The second issue went with Maximum Carnage, which had, of course, Carnage and characters from that storyline and adjacent characters to him. This one is now going to have Spider-Friend characters that have to do with the Maximum Carnage storyline and other Venom and symbiote-related stuff. So we are going to get the new team, which you've had in the other two sets, which are all the symbiotes. There's a lot of AKAs in here, so also known as, these are things where Venom might be known as Agent Venom or Eddie Brock, or Spider-Man being known as Venom at one time, things like that. And there's also symbiosis, new keyword which pretty much every symbiote has, which is this character can have and gain +1/+1 counters while stunned. So they get stunned, they keep all their counters. So that is that, and then we'll look at other little things as we need to, but let's jump in and see who we have. So we have the powerhouse conclusion to the symbiote story arc, whose heroes from across the Spider-Verse all coming together in a collision course with symbiotes. Play as your favorite Spider-themed characters in all-out brawl. Alright, so we're going to start off right away with, we're going to have characters from there. We have Cloak as a Spider-Friend. Cloak and Dagger. You may start the game with an additional main character named Dagger with this power on your side. Dark Force Generation. And I love the fact that Cloak and Dagger both have Dark Force and Light Force Generation. They've always, every incarnation of their cards, always have some slight variation on this. At the start of your turn, put -1/-1 counters on a character. Combine forces. When Dark Force or Light Force is generated, Cloak gains 1 XP. When he levels up, you get Violent. While attacking a supporting character, Cloak strikes with double his attack. And improved Dark Force Generation. At the start and end of your turn, put a -1/-1 counter on a character. And then Dagger to go with them has the Cloak and Dagger. Light Force, at the start of your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on a character. And when Light Force or Dark Force is generated, put 1 XP. When she levels up, you get Acrobatic. While in combat, Dagger gets struck as though she had double her defense. And improved Light Force, at the start and end of your turn, put +1/+1 counter on a character. So it's a very deadly duel. One gets double attack, one gets double defense. Plus you're adding all these +1 and -1 counters to your characters and other characters. And with all the Symbioso characters that keep their counters, it's a good way to help remove them from the bad characters or pump up your symbiote characters. So definitely interesting. Then another fun character, Spider-Friend characters always have some interesting gimmicks for how they're built. Like that's a two character deck, which is kind of neat. Then we have Ezekiel, the Arachnophile. Each supporting character you include must be a Spider-Friend. So he's limiting your deck restrictions. And then Wealthy, at the start of your build phase, gain a recruit point. Webcore. When you recruit a character with a printed cost higher than the number of resources on your side, Ezekiel gains 1 XP. So he gives you an extra point every turn. You have to use that to spend over what somebody is. So if you want to play a one, so like beginning of the game, playing a 2-cost character, you only want 1 resource out. You want to buy a 3-cost character when you have 2 out. Unless you have some other way of building up more resources, it can be tricky to level him up. But is it worth it? Well, he keeps Wealthy, so you gain that extra point every turn. Plus, it has Spider Society. Once per turn during your build phase, you can spend any number of recruit points to put that many +1/+1 counters divided as you choose on supporting characters on your side. So that's crazy, because you always get at least one every turn. And then Spider Totem Bunker. Choose a Spider Friend supporting character on your side to heal each wound from it. So yeah, he's pretty powerful, really friends with them. Alright, we're going to get a new Friends and Family character. So if you've seen the other Spider-Man sets, Friends and Family are one-of-a-kind characters, so there's only one copy per deck. And they gave you a special ability as long as you're protecting them. Yeah, so they basically sit them in your back row. You keep them alive, you gain extra abilities. So she has characters protecting this character have leader, which means you assign where the damage goes. There's also a nice thing, because one of the Sinister Syndicate decks has a thing that lets you capture these Friends and Family characters and then use their own abilities as well. So adding another one is pretty fun. We have some more one-of-a-kind cards. So we have 1 copies of these. We have Eddie Brock, who has the symbiote trait, who's aka Venom. Favored Venom symbiote host. At the start of your turn, you may bind the Venom symbiote from your hand to Eddie. If you do, they become a Spider Friend symbiote character Venom, level 1 main character with Symbioso. So that card is going to be from the first one in this series, so from the Lethal Protector set, is the Venom symbiote. She'll let you find this and put it on there, and then he becomes the level 1 character from that set. So that's kind of, so you get extra, you can turn this regular Eddie Brock into a main character. We can also do the same thing with Flash Thompson, who is aka Agent Venom. He's the Venom symbiote again, and he becomes the Agent Venom level 2 from that set. And that's because from that set, the level 1 is Flash Thompson, and then the level 2 is Agent Venom. So he becomes Agent Venom immediately. But yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. So both of these characters require the other, one of the other sets, but that's still fun. Then our third one that goes with that is Cletus Cassidy, who has aka Carnage. And favored Carnage host. You may bind, start your turn, you may bind a Carnage symbiote from your hand to Cletus. If you do, they become a symbiote Carnage level 1 with symbiosis, and that's what his Carnage symbiote looks like. So yeah, you have to be able to bind them, and then do that. And then that one's from the second one, Maximum Carnage. Then we also have, just to keep rolling with that, I dropped a bunch of cards, is we have, of course, Peter Parker, who has Spider-Man. He can also use the Venom symbiote to become a level 1 Spider-Man character with Symbioso. So he actually becomes a little bit different, because he becomes one of the other ones that you can get, and he would be there. So there are 4 famous host supporting characters in this issue. They allow you to bind a symbiote. Bind means you include a character with it in your deck. If you have the character bind in your deck, you must start the game with a set-aside binding pile. This pile is fixed. You must include particular cards and private. Your opponent can't look. So they don't know if you're going to have the Venom one or the Carnage one, or both. The pile is made up of any main characters mentioned in the bind cards in your deck, any main characters or characters can level up or down into. Once a character appears on a side as a result of bind, it will level up or down as normal. So if you have all 4 of these, your bind deck would be Venom level 1, 2, Flash Thompson level 1, Agent Venom level 2, Carnage level 1, Carnage level 2, and Spider-Man level 1 and Spider-Man level 2. So that way your opponent's not going to know which one you have. And later, eventually in certain sets, they might make different versions of these characters. So maybe you could add some extra ones, but that's to be determined. Also, if a character requires you have any of its own piles, you get those piles as well. This is an exception to the usual rule. Symbiotes are hard to get rid of. For example, if Peter Parker is in a game, you start with a binding pile, the level 1 Spider-Man that has symbiosis. Currently, the only level Spider-Man character with symbiosis has his own alien symbiote pile, so you'll have to bring that pile with as well. Also, calling level 2. How bind works. At the start of your turn, if you have the face-up host on your side and its listed symbiote equipment in your hand, you may play it for free to the host. If you do, KO both of them, and then the listed main character, take it out of the deck and put it there. It's basically the same. Your opponent does not need to KO this additional main character to defeat you. So it just gives you an extra character to play as, but it's not the one you have to defeat. Alright, so that's fun. A little interesting. Again, like I said, Spider-Man, Spider-Friend characters like to have fun gimmicks to doing stuff. Alright, now we're going to get some allies, which I'll be some more 4 copies of each. We have Deathlock, who helped out during Maximum Carnage. So Alpha Magnite Illuminizer. Main, choosing an evil enemy character. It is friendly on its next turn. It can't attack. Speaking of gimmicky Spider-Man characters, we're going to get the Identity Crisis characters. Just when he stopped being Spider-Man for a while, took up 4 other different superhero identities, so he could still hero around the city, but not be Spider-Man because he had like a bounty on his head. So he became Dusk. So these are all one of a kind. You only have one of each in their AKAs, Spider-Man, and they all have the Identity Crisis keyword, but they all have different effects. These characters eventually became their own different people, so maybe they might include them later on, which would be interesting to see how they do that. So here we have Dusk has stealth. He can melee attack protected characters, and his Identity Crisis says you may discard this card to power up Spider-Man and give him stealth for the turn. We have Hornet, based off like the Beetle design, actually. Identity Crisis, when you power up, you can give Spider-Man flight. We have Prodigy, which bulletproof. Characters without range can't strike Prodigy, and when you level them up, you can give Spider-Man bulletproof. And Ricochet. Discard the Spider-Man gets ranged. So it's fun little different things. Our next one we got 4 copies of is we have Nighthawk, who does not actually have a team ability. It says rewrite history. When Nightwatch appears, he gains the team affiliation of your choice. So you can just decide who you want him to be with. Excuse me. Our next ones we're going to get a supporting Venom that's a Spider-Friend and Symbiote character, Symbioso, and let's make a deal. When Venom gains any number of +1/+1 cards, you may remove up to that many +1/+1 cards from an enemy character. This one's fun. We're going to get Captain America as a Spider-Friend. Shield Throw, choose up to 3 face-up enemy characters, put 3, 2, and 1 -1/1 counters on them respectively. Ezekiel's support, protect the spider totems. Each face-up character on his side with spider in its name has hunted. Well, they have +3 defense while defending. Cloak and Dagger partnership. The supporting character counts as both characters named Cloak and a character named Dagger for purposes of uniqueness and power-ups. Dark Force Generation. Start of your turn, put a -1/-1 counter on a character, or Light Force. At the start of your turn, you may put a +1/+1 counter on a character. Another character that helped out in Maximum Carnage storyline was Iron Fist. The source of my power. When he appears at the start of your turn, you may put a chi counter on Iron Fist. While in melee combat, you may spend 1 chi counter at any time you can play a combat plot twist. You do one of the following. Heal a wound from him. He has 4/4 attack this combat. He can't be struck this combat. ready him back into combat, and when he strikes a character, this combat stun it. So that's pretty fun. Bunch of different effects. And then our final support character is going to be Morbius. The Hunger. Morbius can melee attack characters in his own front row. And when Morbius KOs a defending character in melee combat and survives, put a vitality counter on him. You can sacrifice weaker characters to give him more health, which is interesting. We have an equipment. The Sonic Blaster. Equipped character has ranged, and when he attacks an enemy, remove each +1/+1 counter from that character. Symbiotes are weak to Sonics, so this lets you hit them with them and basically wreck their plans. You get 4 copies of that, but they're a Spider Friend team. And then we get 1 copy of a Plot Twist, which is Utility Belt. You may only have 1 of these in your deck, but you only get 1. Build. Search your deck for an equipment, reveal it, put it into your hand. If it's Spider Gear, you may play it for free instead. So one of the older Spider-Man sets had a bunch of Spider equipment, so this works really well with that. And again, all the Spider-Man sets seem to have a lot more cohesion than some of the other sets. Alright, so that's the main part of this deck. We get a bunch of new characters, a couple new villains, some interesting things. We are also going to get 3 other cards, which were introduced in the crossover pack for year 3. So we're adding some more of these. So you can play these on their own, or you can combine them with the other ones. So one we're going to get is a domain. Basically, domains work like this. You take the stack of domain, which was 12 cards in that set, so you can add this, and hopefully they keep doing this for more sets. Add like 1 here, 1 there, so at least you have some options to keep adding these in. But basically what a domain is that once it's played on the table, it's a global effect. It affects everyone on the table. And then with the rest of the domain deck, every time a main character gets damaged, you get rid of 1, you put in new locations. It's constantly changing. So Arachnia gives Spider Heroes. Characters have Climb. At the start of your main phase, you may exhaust a location on your side. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this character. So, in the Battle World comic book with Arachnia, everyone was turned into spiders, which is why this gets Spider Heroes. The next thing that was also introduced were boss battles. This lets you do a 2 versus 1, so 2 players can fight off against 1 player using this special boss battle card. The restrictions on the rules are, if you're using the boss battle here, you have to play as Carnage. Whatever version you want, whether it's a villain version of Carnage or a symbiote version of Carnage, it doesn't matter as long as it's Carnage. And the other players cannot play as Carnage. That's the only restrictions. Again, it's a game, you always do whatever you want, but that's how the rules just work. So what happens is otherwise you play the game like normal, two players versus 1, except this player has, whenever a location appears at our side, you get these effects. So if they get a blue one, they get I was born of chaos. Stun 2 random enemy characters. Yellow is doing all the things a Carnage can. Draw a card, then another card for every 5 +1/+1 counters on Carnage. Green, alive and well. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on Carnage, or 5 instead if he has none. And red, welcome to Carnage World. During this turn, if a character with Symbiosis on your side would gain any number of counters, it gains double that many instead. And if you play the special location of Clintar, which is available in the Lethal Protector set, choose one of the effects above. Once per game, search your deck for a no supporting character, reveal it, and put it into your hand. And no is also in that set. So every time one of those a location's played with one of those symbols, you get to activate one of those extra abilities. That's your boost for trying to for playing against 2 other characters. And ideally, I think the idea would be you play Spider-Man and Venom versus Carnage, but you can play anything against anything. Then the last card we have in this set was the other new thing introduced, were story modes. So this is a set of 3 games. It's supposed to be 1v1. One player's player A, one player's player B. And basically what happens is you play game 1, you do stuff in part 1 here, and then you get whoever wins gets a bonus. And then whoever wins that round starts gets to go first in part 2, and then whoever wins that gets to go first in part 3. And you just kind of see what you can do. So we have mysterious aliens have come to Earth. Setup. Set aside 1 copy of the Venom symbiote and the Carnage symbiote. Equipment cards aside. This story, these cards can't be in your deck, and your main characters can't have symbiosis. So it's a very interesting setup for that. So the landing party. Player 1 wins. I can't stop it from being bonded. Secretly choose one supporting character without symbiosis in your deck as a host. When the host appears for the first time in parts 2 and 3, equip a Venom symbiote to it. Player B wins. Now I have my revenge. The same as above. So whoever wins gets the Venom symbiote. The plot thickens. This one's even worse. Your main character starts part 3 with the Carnage symbiote equipped to it. Player B wins. This one's even better. The same as before. And then part 3, minimum or maximum Carnage. Player A wins. It's what next partner, or player B wins. Congratulations. Now they're everywhere. So basically, player A is kind of like, I'm not really sure about this, and then player B is like, I thrive on this. So it's kind of fun. It also does require, though, having the other 2 sets to play it. Although you can always like make your own versions of those cards because there's not a lot to them. But they work well with the other hosts in this set as well, so it's probably not bad to pick those up. Or no, sorry, the hosts were in the other set, Maximum Carnage set. But yeah, so like Spider sets, I always recommend buying. If you're like a fan of Spider-Man characters, buy all those Spider sets because they all work together in cohesion. But yeah, I hope they keep releasing these story modes and boss battles and stuff. They're really cool. So here we have the checklist. And the domains just adds more variety and stuff you can switch in and out. That is what we have for this set. Check out the other 2 in this arc. See you guys later. Bye.